How's it going, guys? Back again with another video. And usually I'm standing up in my videos, but today I'm gonna make a video sitting down because I don't know. I just like the atmosphere. I got this little vine thing in the background. It looks cool, and I don't know. This might be the format from now on, guys. Whenever I'm doing the more informative videos or the story time videos, like if I ever have something to say, like usually I'm like doing a vlog or like showing off some electrical work I'm doing, but I got many interests and I really still haven't decided what this channel's about, to be honest. I don't know if it's gonna be solely electrical. um, I'll decide over time, but or maybe I'll just be ADHD the whole way through and just do whatever I feel like. I mean, I don't know. It's good Arizona. I'm surprised there's still a dollar with this inflation going on. But yeah, so today I'm gonna talk about something that interests me, and that is video games. And I particularly have an interest in 90s video games, and some 80s video games and some 2000s video games, particularly like around the Y2K era, like early 2000s. I just like the art. I like the I just I dig it, guys. I'm into this. So, you know. So, today I'm going to be talking about 5 more obscure games that you probably haven't heard of that are actually pretty good. I mean, they're gonna be like kind of janky games. Like they're not gonna be perfect, but I would describe them as underrated. So I'm gonna tell y'all 5 underrated games that y'all should check out that are gonna be from the 90s, and probably some from the 80s and some from the early 2000s. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so coming in at number 5, we have Return Fire. This game was released on the 3DO and the PS1. And to be honest, it's a really good multiplayer game. You can cause a lot of mischief and mayhem. If you have a friend over and it's like a late night and you're hanging out, drinking Mountain Dews, whatever, just chilling, I recommend playing this game. Like on a, I would just play it on an emulator though. It's not worth getting a 3DO just for this game. But it's kind of like Just Cause before Just Cause was released. I mean, you have all the explosions, all your 32 bits of glory of explosions, and you have a really good soundtrack of classical music and stuff like that. There's a lot going on. I think this game was promoted originally to get people enlisted in the army or something, because there's a lot of army campaign subliminal messaging, I would say. But it's a good game, guys. It is flawed. There are some flaws to it, like if you were to blow up a bridge, there's no way to restore the bridge, so you could end up being stuck on an island, or the person you're playing against could be stuck in some part of the map, and that can be frustrating because then it just literally never ends. There's no way to win. And also, you could lose all your jeeps, and there's no way of retrieving your rival's flag, which is what this game is all about. It's like capture the flag, but you have different vehicles, and you can blow up towers and squash infantry and squash their tents and blow up buildings and launch missiles and stuff. Really cool game. Really, definitely worth checking out. But yeah, I don't know if I mentioned earlier, but yeah, I would definitely just get this on an emulator rather than the 3DO or PS1, because I don't know, the 3DO is kind of expensive. So yeah, really cool game. You can spend a lot of time playing this. It's fun. So there you go, there's number 5. Hey, what's up guys? Y'all wanna play Return Fire with me? It's on the 3DO. You never heard of the 3DO? Oh, you don't really want to play with me. Oh, okay. Alright, fine. Well, I'll just play Return Fire by myself. Alright, so coming in at number 4, we have this game for the Super Nintendo, released in '94, I believe. It's called The Fireman. And what you do in this game, it's really cool. You take control of 2 different characters. There's Daniel, and then there's... I forgot the other dude's name, but basically you guys are just firemen. They're on rescue missions and use hoses to extinguish flames. And you just clear out different areas and you just work your way to the end of the level and extinguish fires. Really cool game. This is another game that not a lot of people know about. I think it's actually a very expensive game if you were to go and buy the actual cartridge. Dang, I should have made this a top 10 because there's a lot of games that are really good now that I'm thinking of it. But I'm gonna keep it at top 5. But yeah, The Fireman, worth checking out for the Super Nintendo. Alright, and number 3 we got this game Ristar. This was released on the Sega Genesis in the early 90s, and you take control of this little character who has a star face, and I really don't know how to describe him. He's like a anthropomorphic star dude. And you use your arms to grapple onto things and swing yourself into things. And that's your form of attack, as well as your way of getting around and overcoming obstacles. Which is really kind of fun and engaging. I can't think of another game like it. I guess Rayman is something I would point to and say it's kind of like it. Or Dynamite Headdy is another one, but Ristar, for some reason, I don't know why, I just have a soft spot for it. It has that charm to it. I like the vivid colors and imagery as well. Definitely an underrated game on the Sega Genesis, or the Sega Mega Drive if you live in the UK, or, well, anywhere else for that matter. I think America is the only place who calls it the Genesis. And there were a lot of good platforming games released on the Sega Genesis. A lot. But out of all the ones that I can think of, I would say this is probably in the top 5. I might make a more intensive video later on, specifically for the Genesis and the good games that were on it. But yeah, for the time being, I place this at number 3 on the list. Or what number are we at? We did 5, 4. Yeah, we're at number 3. Oops. Losing track. But hopefully the people won't mind me using their gameplay videos, because I ripped a lot of these videos from YouTube. Sorry guys. I mean, it's just gameplay videos. But still. Yeah. Anyway, this game's really cool. I really miss these old mascots. These old, like, 90s platforming mascots. You don't really see a lot of this in gaming nowadays. Everything is... It's not as original. It's just following a cookie-cutter script. It's not as experimental. But this is kind of a wacky... Definitely a wacky one, and it's worth checking out. Alright, so coming in at number 2 on the list, we have this game, LSD Dream Emulator. It was released on the PS1, and it's a weird game. It is really weird. It's bizarre. I mean, if you just look at the opening to this game with all the flying letters and flashing colors and just imagery. It is what it says it is. It's literally LSD Dream Emulator. I could only imagine somebody playing this game under the influence of LSD. You shouldn't do drugs, by the way. I'm not advocating the use of illicit substances, but that's not really the topic of this video. Geez, this game is wild. I think you're having these dreams or hallucinations, and you're basically just exploring and interacting with your environment, with all the colors and textures, and you just go from one landscape to another, and some areas are a little bit more negative. I would say they're like what I would call bad trips, or what they're being portrayed as bad trips, and then you have the more vivid, happier atmospheres that are good trips. But it's just a wild game. There's a lot to unpack with this one. You got like floating, dancing elephants. You got this mysterious man who chases you called the Shadow Man. You got like all kinds of crazy stuff going on. Definitely worth checking out. I wouldn't necessarily say it's super underrated. I think there is kind of a relatively large community of people who know about this game, but at the same time, I feel like it does kind of deserve more credit, and it was kind of a pioneer of the liminal space exploration games that we see today. Like on Steam, we have Pools and Spooky's Mansion. A lot of those games, I feel, borrowed a lot of influence from this game, and there's really not much to do other than explore. There's no objective, but in its own way, it's an interesting game, and it's definitely worth checking out. 100%. I remember playing this game with my friend. I'll call my friend Ryland to preserve his anonymity online, because I don't want to just name drop him, but Ryland and I put in a lot of time just trying to find just what kind of lunacy is going on in this game. We would explore all the different areas. Yeah, lots of late nights just hanging out and playing LSD Dream Emulator on the PS1. Really cool game. Alright, so coming in at number 1, we have Mr. Doe for the Super Nintendo. It was an arcade game, and it was released later on the Super Nintendo. And looking back at this video, it's not really a top 5 per se. There's no real hierarchy of what's better and what's not. This is just 5 random games, to be honest, that I picked. But this one is really underrated, and there is a lot of potential for multiplayer. You can... If you like puzzle games and you like just relaxing on the couch and just playing a quick puzzle game, especially with a friend, this game has a really strong multiplayer feature. Use the ball to bounce around the walls and hit the enemies, and if you clear out all the enemies, you get to go on to the next stage, or you can collect all the cherries. Either way. I like to do a little mix of both. Like, you collect some of the cherries, and then you try to balance it. You try to clear out some of the enemies, and you can use the apples to drop onto the heads of the enemies. Or the apples could end up sabotaging you if you're not careful. So there is kind of a little bit of skill involved with this game, and it can get really fun with 2 people if you guys are both into it and Y'all are dropping apples on enemies and throwing balls around. It's a cool game. No one really talks about it, but yeah. I mean, it's a cool game. You play as a clown too, which is pretty cool. I've always liked clowns. So yeah. Well guys, I hope y'all enjoyed my video of just different underrated games. There's 5 of them that I grew up playing that I really had a lot of fun with, that really deserve more credit. And yeah, I hope y'all enjoy the video and be sure to subscribe. I want to build more of a foundation here. You know, I want to make better videos. I want to have a more solid plan and probably better editing. I know my editing is subpar to say the least, but yeah guys, it'll get better. And like always, thanks for watching. Alright, bye bye.